When it comes to most of your body, it's true. If you don't use it, you lose it, at least in some sense. And if you use it more, it gets bigger, thicker, and stronger. Unfortunately for the boys though, there are exceptions to that rule. But keep trying anyway. Doctor's orders. It helps decrease the risk of prostate cancer. So what are we losing if we don't use our body? And why are we losing it? Most people may know that we lose muscle. Some people know our bones and ligaments get thinner and weaker if we aren't using a body part. But here's the thing most people don't realize. When we stop moving, it's not just the muscles and joints that change. Our nervous system changes too. Those changes make it much more likely you're going to experience pain, even when nothing is actually damaged. So in this video, I want to break down this biological truth in a way everyone can understand. We'll look at how your body changes with less movement, how your nervous system changes, and why that can make pain more likely even when your tissues are fine. If you've been told to rest or you've been afraid to move because of pain, this is probably going to help you a lot. Your body is efficient. It's always adjusting based on how you use it. So let's say your arm is in a cast for 6 weeks. Of course, you're not going to be able to use your arm as much. Your body actually stops wasting energy to maintain it. The muscles shrink, the tendons get weaker, the bones even get thinner. It's not to make you weaker or to hurt you. It's your body conserving energy. Humans evolved to survive scarcity. For most of history, famine was a real threat. So our biology learned to spend energy only where it's needed. Maintaining muscle, bone, and tendon tissue is expensive. It takes a lot of fuel. So your body constantly asks, do I need this? And the only way to convince your body that you do need it is to use it. If you're not using it, your body gradually breaks that tissue down and uses those resources to power other parts of your body you are using. It's a beautiful, efficient system, and it has helped humans survive through a lot of tough times. So if you want to keep something, you have to keep using it. If you want to improve though, if you want to get stronger, faster, or more efficient, you have to push that system close to its limits. That's how your body knows it needs to adapt. That's how it knows to get better. Muscles grow when they're under more tension than they're used to. Bones get thicker when they carry heavier weight than usual. Your cardiovascular system gets more efficient when it's challenged by effort. Every bit of progress is your body upgrading itself to handle the stresses you keep throwing at it. That's how you earn it. Challenging yourself and making yourself uncomfortable is literally the only way to get better. So why does this matter for pain? Because when you move less, your nervous system starts adapting in ways that increase protection, not performance. With less movement, it gets less data to process about how your body is working, which makes it more likely to produce pain as a way to protect you. Just like muscles get weaker when they're not used, your brain's connection with that part of your body gets weaker too. Your brain has detailed maps that represent your body. It has the motor cortex for movement and the sensory cortex for sensation. Every body part you use is represented somewhere on those maps. The more you use that body part and the more intricate those movements are, the bigger and sharper that representation the brain becomes. These distorted images are a rough representation of how much space each body part takes up in the brain. Your hands take up a huge chunk of real estate in both the sensory and motor cortex. You use them constantly for fine, detailed movements, and you use them to feel and examine the world more often. But your trunk though, that takes up far less space because it's used for bigger, more general movements, and you never really touch anything with your back. That's why that game where you try to guess what someone is drawing in your back is so hard. Here's a key point to understand though. These maps aren't fixed. They're constantly being updated based on your experience. When you move more, that map gets clearer and more defined. When you move less, those dividing lines start to blur. Whether your movement is limited by pain, injury, or even fear of pain or injury, it's the same result if you're not moving. There's a weaker neurological connection and more uncertainty with that part of the body. In neuroscience, this process is called smudging. It means the brain's representation of a body part becomes a little fuzzy. The borders between that area and its neighbors start to overlap. Researchers have found these brain maps can start changing incredibly fast. In one study, just 11 hours of having an arm immobilized was enough to alter how that arm was represented in the brain. But here's a cool part of that study. The group who spent time simply imagining that they were moving their arm kept their brain maps more stable than those who didn't. So even though they never physically moved their arm, their brain maps still stayed clear and sharp with just a mental exercise. Now, let's think about what happens when someone lives with pain for months or years. They usually move less, sometimes because of the pain itself, sometimes from the fear of making it worse. Over time, their brain's map for that painful area starts to blur. With less movement and less sensory feedback, the brain gets less accurate information about what's happening there. That creates uncertainty. And when the brain is uncertain, it tends to make it easier for them to experience pain. Then when they feel more pain with movement, they move less, and so that vicious circle continues. That's one of the ways pain can become become a chronic issue even when nothing is physically damaged. Your brain just isn't as confident in that body part anymore. It doesn't fully trust the information it's getting. Fear and uncertainty are part of the perfect recipe for overprotection, and overprotection leads to more pain. This isn't just theory. There are now many imaging studies that found people with chronic pain often show smudged sensory and motor maps in their brain. The more smudged those maps are, the more pain and sensitivity people tend to report. And when treatments focus on sharpening those maps with movement or imagined movement, their pain gets better. Now, to be clear though, scientists don't believe smudging directly causes pain on its own. It's not a simple cause and effect relationship. Some people have blurred maps and feel fine, and other people have pain even when their maps look normal. So the most scientifically accurate way to put it is this. Smudging doesn't cause pain, but it can create the conditions that make it more likely for you to feel pain. So how can all of this neuroscience help someone who's living with chronic pain? First, let's talk a bit about what pain actually is. Pain is your body's protective alarm system. Your brain constantly weighs information from your body, your memories, your emotions, your sleep, and your stress levels. If it thinks you're in danger, it uses pain to get your attention and change your behavior. That means the goal of treating your pain isn't to numb yourself with medication or to fix your imbalances. It's to teach your brain that you're safe again. We've seen how less movement can blur your brain's maps and make it more protective. And we know that these maps can change quick. It could change for the worse if you move less and for the better if you train it. When you move, you send new, clear information that helps sharpen those maps and rebuild confidence. That's just one reason why movement helps so much in pain. You also know that you don't have to move much for your brain to start changing. And even just imagining movement helps to build those important neurological connections. This means treatment doesn't have to start with painful exercises. There's always something you can do to actively get your road to recovery started. Each repetition of safe movement or mental movement is more data for your brain. It's more evidence that you're not in as much danger as it looks. As those neurological messages start stacking up, your brain learns to protect less and move more. Pain gets better not because you were healed or you got fixed. It's because of your nervous system learning it's in less and less danger. So to sum everything up, all of this is another reason to focus on the nervous system first when it comes to pain. Every bit of movement, every sensation, every imagined action teaches your brain that your body is safe again. Of course, none of this is me saying that you're imagining all your pain and it's all in your head. You can't completely cure yourself and think your pain away. All of this stuff is only a part of a rehab plan that should include physical movement and progression. It's about understanding that your nervous system is adaptable. It can learn and change based on the data you feed it. This should feel empowering. You have more control than you think over your pain.